Hey everybody, this is Matt and we're at Texas Toast Guitars. Thanks for watching. Today we're going to be working on the first video in a series of videos that I've been wanting to make for a long time, and it's a 50 tool list video. Now I'm not 100% sure what I want to even call this series. It could be 50 tools that you need to build guitars, or it could be 50 tools that you need to build guitars the way I do. Or it could be 50 tools I need to build guitars. So, I worked on this for a while and I made a list, and, it was constantly changing, and I thought, the best thing to do is just go ahead and start the videos, and the first few are going to be real easy because they're going to be tools I know I would want to have. As the list, gets higher up there in numbers, or rather counts down to number 1, and these are in no particular order, by the way, that's going to be tricky. I'm gonna, some stuff's going to have to be cut, and some stuff's going to have to get thrown in there that I wasn't really sure I was going to want to use. So anyway, this will be a living list, and I'm absolutely, positively open to your ideas on what these 50 tools should be. Although in this first one, these are tools that I know you're going to want to have. Now, before we get too far down the path, some of these tools are going to be very affordable and easy to acquire. Some of them I know are going to be a little more on the expensive side. Don't be discouraged, because I'm sure everybody knows that while it is very nice that I have all this gear that I have had to acquire it over many years. So don't run out and buy 50 tools just because I say to do it. Buy some of the stuff a little bit at a time, and before you know it, you're going to have way too much shit in your shop, and your old lady's going to come out and go, "Where are you going to put that new thing that you just bought?" or something like that. Spoiler alert, I am not sure if my beloved pin router is going to be on this list. I haven't decided yet, and I would really like to know what you guys think about that. I know that if that tool took a dump tomorrow, I would be looking for a new one, but I'm not sure that you need to have the same tools that I do. So this is going to be a list that I think is going to work well for just about anybody who wants to get started and has a little bit of money to put together a pretty decent set of tools. So the pin router probably isn't going to be on there. But these first 10, I guess it'd be 50 through 41, would absolutely positively be on my list of tools that you should have. So without any further delays, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, one more thing I forgot to tell you all about. Some of this stuff is going to be kind of like cheating, because I'm going to group a handful of tools as one tool. So rather than say, you need to have 48 drill bits, and here they are. I'm just going to say that for example, drill bits would be one tool. So there'll be a little bit of cheating, but I'm sure that you can get past that. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with our very first entry. Norm Abrams always started his show with the most important tool in the shop being safety glasses, and I'm going to start this series of videos off with personal protective equipment. Now remember, safety goggles might make you look cool, but they're also a very important part of shop safety, to paraphrase Hank Hill. I know I'm always shining you guys on about what safety glasses or earplugs or respirators I may or may not be wearing, and you know what? I'm an adult and I've made choices based on what I think is important at the time. You got to do whatever you think is important to you too, but I think it would be remiss of me to not include PPE like goggles or foam earplugs or muffs or a dust mask or respirator or something like that. You got to use what you feel comfortable with. Don't watch my videos and go, "Well, Matt doesn't wear that stuff, so I'm not gonna." 9 times out of 10, when I'm using the equipment that you see me using in a video and I don't have PPE on, it's because I'm only using it for a brief instant. When I run my pin router, I always wear some kind of safety glasses, or danger glasses as I call them. It's not unheard of for me to wear a respirator or earplugs. Obviously paint and that sort of thing, you always want to wear that stuff. So take care of your body because it's the most important tool that you got. And PPE. Next on the list is going to be some type of adhesive. When you make guitars, there's a lot of gluing. Even if you have bolt-on neck construction, you're going to be gluing stuff to other stuff. If I had to choose one type of glue, it would be Titebond. Now that is not to say that all other types of glue suck. It's just that this is one of the easiest things to get, and it's one of the most effective tools in any wood shop. Now, I don't leave my guitars out in the rain, so I don't use the the waterproof Titebond, and I don't even know what the Titebond 3 stuff is. If you want to use hide glue or Titebond 3 or CA glue, all of that stuff is really good. But like I said, if I could have one thing, it would be Titebond Original. That's the stuff that we use for almost everything, gluing bodies together. Hell, we even lubricate fret slots with this stuff because if you've ever stuck metal to wood, even accidentally with Titebond, you know that though it's not designed to adhere those two things, it sticks them down pretty well. So Titebond Original. If you're going to be gluing stuff, the next tool on the list is clamps. Now this is one of those things where, I could say, well, you need 50 clamps. Well, that would be a short video and it wouldn't be very much fun. You're going to want to have a bunch of clamps. This style is particularly effective for me. One of the things that I don't use at all are those cam clamps that you buy from the Lutherie supply places. Not because I don't like them, but because they're kind of expensive and I don't think they're any better than a clamp like this. These are very similar to the clamps that you see in almost every Luthier forum post or Luthier video, and that is those Harbor Freight $2.99 special versions of this same clamp here. And I have a bunch of those things because they're really cheap, and when they do break, I just toss them. This is a slightly improved version. Actually, I bet you what it is the Harbor Freight version is kind of a sucky version of this. This is a Bessie clamp, and I've had these guys for a long time. They don't show any signs of wear on the actual moving bits. The Harbor Freight ones can kind of bend and warp and twist, but they're $3. So, get them and use them, and as soon as they stop working, toss them and don't worry about it. So, gotta have a bunch of clamps. If you're just starting out actually building guitars, a wood rasp is an unbelievably effective tool. One of the cool things about rasps, too, is they're ready to go right out of the box. You don't have to sharpen a wood rasp. It's, ready to start making sawdust immediately. This one, this is a dragon tooth rasp, I think, and I got this one from StewMac many years ago. I think its claim to fame is that the little sticky outy things are done by hand by, craftsmen wherever this was made. Yeah, look at that. It even says dragon on it. It has a symbol that allegedly means dragon or soup. I don't know. But you know what? Wood rasps. This one is cool because it tapers down to a nice point right here, so you can really get into some nooks and crannies. I have shaped many necks with nothing more than this tool. So if you can use this for, so many things. A wood rasp is a tool that you don't have to be an expert to sharpen it. You don't have to be an expert to use it. You can just start hogging and kind of shape a vision that you have with whatever wood you're working with. So a really good wood rasp is definitely worth the investment. You don't have to use one of these dragon ones. You can go to a home center and buy something like this. But these aren't exactly cost prohibitive, especially when you consider how long they last, which is forever. I don't know. This shows absolutely no signs of breaking. If you can break a wood rasp, then I don't know. You're a better man than I am. So put wood rasp on your tool list. Up next, I have a tool that is a little more finesse needed to operate, and that is a regular chisel here. Now, this one is an Irwin chisel, and you'll notice that I have selected very specifically this 1/2-inch chisel. By the way, this red on here is not blood. It is marking. I think it's Dicam marking compound because I surface grind all my chisels so that they're nice and perfect every time. A little bit more on that here in a second. I find that the 1/2-inch chisel is probably one of the more effective sizes for me, and so I've got 1/2-inch chisels all over the place. I've got some other sizes too, but the 1/2-inch pretty much seems to be almost perfectly suited for everything that I do. Now, unlike a wood rasp, A chisel comes from the factory with a little bit of an edge, but not anything that you could consider razor sharp. If you've ever worked with a dull chisel and a sharp chisel, you know there's a gigantic difference. Having a sharp tool is really a joy to work with, and having a dull chisel is like a disaster waiting to happen. You will injure yourself faster with a dull tool than you will a sharp tool every day of the week. So you're going to need to figure out some way to sharpen these guys, and there's lots of videos on how to sharpen chisels. And if you go down to Woodcraft or somewhere, they're going to have everything you need. But have a chisel and the ancillary sharpening gear to go with it, and you will find lots and lots and lots of uses for this. And provided those uses don't include opening paint cans, chisels and rasps will last you probably for the rest of your life, and they are an investment that you should absolutely buy something good. Provided you are a woodworker. Now, for all my marine buddies out there, I could give you this, and you would break one and lose the other. All right, let's talk briefly about some power tools. This is a power tool that I think you absolutely should have. Not exactly this one, but a handheld drill. This one happens to be a cordless one. It's a rigid unit, and I've had this drill for a long, long time. It has never let me down. When it breaks, I will probably replace it with the updated version of this. Now, you can get away with a drill with a cord on it, or you can get away with a bigger one. I and I have drills all over the shop too. This is a pretty good size because it's little. So, I mount bridges with this thing. I drill those long holes from the bridge to the cavity for ground wires, from pickups to control cavities for pickup wires, all sorts of stuff. I even have like a little deal here that is a string winder that goes on the end of this. You can use these for so many things. It has a drill setting, so you can put this all the way up to the drill setting, and then you can drill holes with it, and then you can back it off. It has a clutch, so you can back it off, and it will actually stop, which is really handy for some of those little screws, like those god dang screws on the backs of base headstocks. I'm always losing those and busting those. Having a appropriate sized drill, having an appropriate sized screwdriver fit in this will make even those really frustrating screws zip in like it ain't no thing. So have a good handheld drill, and you will be using this thing all the time. Okay, another power tool that you absolutely positively should get right away is some kind of router. This one is a Porter cable, but lots of people make good tools. The more you do this, the more of these you are going to acquire. I think that the plunge router is probably going to beat out even the router table, because you could very effectively turn this into a router table. Man, I tell you though, having a plunge router handheld is really cool for working with cavities and small stuff like that, and when you're going from the top. But if you have this mounted in a table, you can do all kinds of stuff. You can do pattern work with it a little bit easier. You can use a fence on your table, and you can wrap truss rod slots. There's lots and lots and lots of good stuff that you can do with a router. Now, again, this is a Porter cable, and this one has served me well, although it does have a busted thing on it. I think one of the deals that you press down and it kind of locks the bit in place, so you can get it. You can get a wrench in there a little easier, bust it off. I don't think Porter cable is quite the tool that they were 30 years ago, but what is? There's lots of good brands out there. I have a couple different rigid routers that have served me well. I've got a Bosch router that's great. Obviously my beloved pin router, which we're not going to get into yet. I've even got some Ryobi routers that I bought a long, long time ago when I first started, and believe it or not, they're still operational. Those $79, $99 routers that they have at Home Depot, they are not bad tools, and I would recommend that you invest in at least one. But mark my words, you will end up with more than one router. So if you're gonna start your power tool collection, this would be a great one to start with. Again, you will use these all the time if you start building electric guitars. Next up, I put a straight edge on the list. Now, this is a precision ground straight edge. I think this one came from Grizzly or somewhere. And you know, you don't have to have a straight edge like this. You could probably get away with you know, a $5 aluminum yardstick from the home center and do a lot of what I do with a straight edge, which is really draw straight lines. If you need to check and see if something is flat, or if you want to put this on the side of your neck and draw lines to make sure your neck is where you need it to be in the body, you know, a lesser tool would work just fine for that. You know, and I worked with those for a long time, and we still have them all over the place here, and we use them quite a bit. Another way to go with a straight edge would be you could buy a square, your framing square, and you could either leave it as is, or you could lop off the angle bit, and then you'd have a great straight edge. But this one wasn't too expensive, and I like it. It doubles as a ruler. It's a 2-foot straight edge, so it has little ruler marks there. I don't know if you can see them. And this is a great tool to have. We check things to make sure they're flat. We draw lines. A straight line, and particularly a center line, is something that you're going to refer back to on every guitar you make for as long as you make guitars. So having a good tool like this is definitely a worthwhile investment. Now we're going to get into some tools that are maybe a little more specific to guitar building. I say that, and then I'm going to present you with this dovetail saw. Now this one came from Stuart McDonald because it is sized to be a fret slotting saw. But this is basically just a Japanese pull saw that is for dovetail use, or whatever these are for. These are when you get them new. This one's kind of old, and you would not want to do this, what I'm doing, with a brand new version of this. But these are great tools, and now, unlike a chisel and a rasp, these aren't going to last for a very long time. And stay as sharp. And you know, I've never figured out a way to sharpen these. Maybe if you are smarter than I am, maybe you can tell me how you could sharpen these, or maybe it's not worth it and you just toss them. But Stu Mac sells these, and they are very effective tools. But I've seen these at Woodcraft too. Take your calipers and measure the blade if you don't buy them from Stu Mac, and make sure that they match the fret wire that you're going to use. Again, I've bought lots of Japanese pull saws, and these are particularly effective hand saws, and you're going to want to have one of these to cut fret slots. Now the Japanese don't have the market cornered when it comes to dovetail saws. This is an English style. This one was actually made in Germany, and this is just a dovetail saw, and it's kind of cool because you can rotate the orientation of the handle here by pushing this, pushing this button and rotating it around. And so now you have the saw going the other way for you lefties. And I imagine this is way more important when you're working with dovetails, but it, you know, if you're left-handed, that's cool too. Now, the kerf on this saw was a little bit wider than I needed, so I was able to modify that by squeezing these teeth in so that they're in a nice straight line. So this is a good tool, and I believe, so both these, by the way, are back saws in that they have a reinforced back to keep them from wiggling, jiggling. So you can cut a nice straight line like you would have to on a dovetail or a fret slot. So yeah, fret slotting saws, whether you go with the traditional English version or the Japanese pull saw, both are very effective tools. Get one of them and start cutting fret slots. So the last tool I'm going to talk about in this video is actually several tools. These are nut files, and these, you've got to have a good set of nut files if you're going to work on guitar nuts. The best part about having a set of nut files is if you can make a guitar nut, you can charge your buddies to put new nuts on their guitars, and these will actually pay for themselves pretty fast. Now, again, I know you think I'm a shill for Stu Mac. These came from Stu Mac. These are cool because they have two sizes. They go everywhere from like a 12 gauge string up to a guitar string up to like 120 gauge bass string. And they have two sizes. This one is 26 to 32. And so each file comes with two things that it does, so that's good. StewMac doesn't have the market cornered on tools. There's lots of good companies that make fret file. They make nut cutting nut. There's lots of companies that make nut files. Find one that works for you and run with it. Now, I happen to really like these. Chris hates these, and he has a set that he uses that I don't even know where he got them, but they're quite a bit slimmer, and they don't have this handle, and they're flat, so you can use that as kind of a metric to how much am I moving the file in relation to the fret height. So find a nut file that works well for you, and get all the ones that you're going to need. Could you do this job of this file with a needle file? Yeah, you could. But let me tell you, as someone who has long in the past had a nut done for way too much money with needle files that all had V grooves in them, I'm like, that's just tacky. The cool thing about these files is they're round on the bottom, so the string fits nice in the slot made by this, and it's the right thickness for each string. And having a set of files particular to a job is definitely not a bad thing. Now, they're not giving these away, but like I said, very good investment for a specific job that you want to look good. You want to have your nut be, you want those to be nice. So invest in a good tool for that. Again, you're cutting bone or plastic with these, so they're a one-time deal. As long as you don't lose them, you're never going to wear these guys out. Okay, so that should pretty much wrap it up from 50 to 41. I am going to leave Amazon links for every tool that I can find in these videos in the description below. And if you have any comments or questions about what we've talked about so far, you should leave those in the comment section below. Remember, like I said, this is going to be a living list, so I welcome your contributions to that list, because we've got 40 more tools to go. So if you like the video, give us a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. If you like content like this, you might want to check out our Patreon page and consider becoming a member. If you can't do that, we totally get it. What would be great even if you were a Patreon member, or if you can't do that at this time, is to share this video on every website that you possibly can think of where you think people might appreciate this information. So let's wrap it up for today, because this is a long damn video, and I look forward to doing the next set. So guys, this is Matt at Texas Toast, reminding you that if you're so smart, build it yourself. That's what I do. Thanks for watching, everybody.